afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Where are you joining us from? Today is May 24th. Wow, May is going so fast. May 24th, 2025. I'm Emmanuel G. Sapolucia. I'm the host of Healthcare Watch on Liberia Shall Rise. Today edition, we're going to be discussing monkeypox outbreak in Liberia, what we can do to prevent it from spreading, what's the impact it has on our society. But before I go into those healthcare issues, I want to take this time to say to LSR fan that I've been out for almost 4 or 5 weeks due to some medical conditions. I had to go on a major surgery. By God's grace, I'm recovering well, and I'm back. And by God's grace, I should remain here. And thank God to science that have developed over the years that we can diagnose these things before, or we can catch these things before they get worse. So I thank God where I find myself, and I hope we can do the same in Liberia. Again, welcome to Liberia Rise, and thank you for joining us today. You can join us on Facebook, our YouTube channel, and on our personal pages. Uh, my page, my Facebook page, Dr. Positive's Facebook page, Sheriff, and Dr. George. And I also want to take this time to recognize those people that that were with me during my journey to recovery. Even though I'm still recovering, I'm about 60% in recovery, but thank God I can sit up and talk and do those things that I like to do. I want to extend a heartfelt gratitude to all of my LSR family, Dr. Positive, Dr. George, and Sharif, my good old friends, and other friends, Dr. Doe, who was there when we needed him in the time of emergency. And I want to take this time also to tell everyone in my church and those my friends who have called me, texted me, to wish me, a safe recovery and a speedy recovery. I want to say thank you to my co-workers and all those people, and especially my wonderful wife and family who have been there. She have been by my side, to the hospital, from the hospital for recovery. She's doing everything for me. So my wonderful wife, Ruth G. Sapolucia, I want to say thank you, sweetie. I love you, and thank you for always being there and standing by my side. And as stubborn as I am, you are always there to push me, and that's why you are my better half. Thank you. Well, so ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing monkeypox, the impact is having on our people in Liberia, and what we need to know about it. Okay, so as usual, I like to share PowerPoints, and I'm going to be sharing PowerPoints here just to give us on path. Again, welcome to Liberia Rise, and I'm back, and by God's grace, back to stay and not to grow away for this long time. So monkeypox, if we can get an overbrief of monkeypox, and I want us to put it in different contexts. I know if you hear the word monkeypox, you think it's only monkey that can transmit this condition, but that is not true. Any other condition, any other animal, it can be transmitted via any other animal. Okay, so what we're going to be discussing today is the origin of monkeypox, and I said monkeypox in Liberia is a public health concern, and we all should be concerned about it. Okay, so our objective today is to look at an overview of monkeypox, what caused monkeypox, what do we know about monkeypox, and how can Liberia deal with monkeypox. And we're going to focus mainly on Liberia. And I think so far, overall, Liberia has done extremely well with this monkeypox condition, in that we have not had any death in Liberia, and that is a good thing. Okay, so just to give a little background or overview of monkeypox, and I want us to put it in the context. And I know what I'm going to say may be controversial to some people, but I want us to put it in the context. Okay, so like many other diseases or viruses that we have seen in our world, and I could be wrong, but I stand to be corrected. Most of them have been developed in the laboratory. Okay, it's just like the COVID-19. I know they don't want to give us they do not want to give us a full story, but if you really look at it, it was developed in the lab. All right, and that's why, like most of the COVIDs, most of the coronas, they were developed in the lab, and that's what we see today. Okay, so let us look at the context of the monkeypox. Monkeypox, according to story, from if you kind of dig into it, in 1958 it was discovered in Denmark. All right, but I want to give us a context here. In 1956, in 1956, this is where it may sound controversial. In 1956, there was a refugee committee or commission, whatever you want to call it, that was created by Denmark during the war with Soviet Union and all that stuff that was going on at that time in Europe and other places. But 1956, this so-called refugee agency was established for the DRC Congo. And then in 1958, the scientists in Denmark were testing pox. Because pox is a family, right? Where you got smallpox, you got chicken pox, and other the off pox, the one that affects sheep or cattle, whatever you want to call them, and then other pox that affect other animals. So you got those pox, not all those poxes. So in 1958, they were testing the monkey. This monkey, they were using it as a test rat or lab rat, or as a testing tube. Let me put it that way. So they were injecting it with different kind of pox. And I would think at that time, because I work in the lab and I know that's how we do it, if we want to make sure that our medication that we have works and what doses can be measured, how the doses can be measured and administered, we have to test it on animal, right? Especially after when it was passed, law was passed that you cannot test viruses and stuff on human, right? So we had to use animals. So in 1958, the Danish scientists were trying this monkeypox, these poxes on these monkeys, and then they found out that one of the viruses that came out was not the pox that they were not giving the result that they were anticipating, and that's why they brought the name monkeypox, right? It can be transmitted from animal to human and human to human, and that's why they call it zoonotic infections, right? Because it's mediated from animals. So monkeypox then was accidentally discovered, in my opinion, based on the research in Denmark on the monkey. Okay. But then when you fast forward to 1970, where they had the first human case in 1970 in the DRC, right? Remember what I said earlier. The Danish government had a refugee agency targeted at DRC. They discovered monkeypox in 1958. In 1970, the first human case was in DRC Congo, where they said that in this family of, I think, 4 or 5, whatever the number of family was, but the youngest among them, who's just a 9-month baby, was the one that was affected by monkeypox, right? It might just be a coincidence or it could be something else. I don't know, but I'm just looking at what was happening at the time in Africa in the late 1950s to the 1980s. We know that's the time Africa was trying to revolutionize themselves to say, oh, we want our independence and we want this. This is just me giving historical context to the whole thing that's happening here. I don't have any research that indicates that, but I'm just adding 1 or 2 here to look at what have happened in history. If we go in the 16 and 1700, we know the similar thing happened in the Americas, where the Native American were almost extinct by the use of different viruses and diseases to kill them when direct contact was not being affected. So was not effective. So I just putting those pieces together for us as a people to wake up and see, hey, something might be going on wrong. And let us not forget, now in 2025, we see few African leaders are trying to turn against Western culture or Western power. So let us start paying attention to some of these things and why these outbreaks are there and why they are affecting our people. So we need to start thinking about that as we go on. But that's just my own controversial statement in regard to that as you think about what's happening. But let us redirect ourselves back to our monkeypox story, right? So again, in 1970 was the first human contact. And then from there, it came back out again, I think 2002 in the Americas, where they told us that there was a rat taken from Ghana that came to the United States, I think the early 2022 or something like that, 2003. And that rat was in close contact with a dog and somebody got it from that. But we know that in the last few years, 90 countries outside of Africa have been affected by monkeypox, right? And some of them have not traveled, especially in Europe in recent time. In England, I think there's some about 40 cases where most of the people that had it were young male who had not traveled out of the country. So that means it is still lingering. Yes, they may have found vaccine to get rid of it, but we know Africa is always the last place to get those vaccines that are created, right? So as we go through these things, I want us to pay attention to that as well, right? So that's just a little background about monkeypox, where it came from. It came from the lab to the human species, I would say. Okay. Now, transmission. Again, it can be done by direct contact with the infected animals or human being, through respiratory or droplets, or contact with or materials. For example, if I have monkeypox, and most of the time, these viruses, I mean, I must indicate that most viruses do not spend a lot of time outside of their host, right? The longer they stay out of their host, the most likely they are to die. So these are some, excuse me, these are just some of the pictures. I just show I try to show a graphic of how you can get it, from shaking hands, from kissing, from animals, so eating animals that are infected, or playing with animals that are infected. So that's how we get this thing, through sex, right? So sex is not, sex is direct too. So that you can get monkeypox, and we know it's now in Liberia. We're supposed to show a video. I know Steve had a video he's supposed to show, but he's in the background working on some technical issues. So hopefully he will bring that video up later as we go on with the show. But there's a comedian in Liberia called, I think his name is Japate or something of that nature, who caught monkeypox and tried to give awareness to Liberians about monkeypox, right? And I think is those are kind of effective way of doing it.
Okay, good evening, good afternoon, hello everyone. I'm the motivated crewman Jabate, as you all know. So a few days ago, I was in Lofa, where I got infected with the monkeypox virus. And then 2 days, someone who I know that had the virus, person touched me mistakenly, and then that's how I came in contact with the virus. And then I've been taking treatment. I think you can see my face everywhere. Today is my last day from the hospital, so I decided to try another method of using the country herbs so that we're about to use it again. So please stay aware, be safe. Remember that the monkeypox virus is real. I think you see all in my eyes, all over everywhere, my face, my body. That's it. So let's do it. Let's do it. No time to make yourself feel bad. I know you're feeling sorry for me, but I know that I'll be well soon, all right? So we're about to apply it. Let's go. So this one is the cassava leaf, along with the Ghana and porter. Cassava leaf, Ghana porter, everything mixed. I got my special that. Y'all get ready. I'm in music there. They don't move from me. That boy who get to me. That boy who get to me. The man will be cow who is it? The man will be cow who is it? Cow who? You in a video right here, I want you to rub my medicine properly. So please, I'm asking you to can't send any money for me. I'm asking you for any donation. Nobody can say, oh, Jabata begging for money. Don't try it to me. Later me I see you. I just want you to be aware. Eating is real. Okay, so please share.
So that's
our brother
giving his experience. Okay. That's our brother giving his experience about monkeypox and the danger that it poses in Liberia, right? So far, and he interacted with somebody who had the virus, and he contacted that person, and that's how he got affected. And that is one of the mode of transmission. Like I said, touching or direct contact by touching or droplet. Droplet is where I'm talking and I sneeze, right? If I'm not wearing mask, the droplets that go out, we can get affected because it goes through your nostril as well. And animals where you play, if you have a dog and the dog has it, you play with the dog. That's direct contact as well, right? So please let us know once you know the mode of transmission, that will help us to prevent it. And you never know who has it, right? Because the onset, you may not know. You may think, oh, it's just pimple on the person's face, as we know it back home. Stress do cause pimple on your face, right? But if it has some other underlying symptoms like fever and chill and other stuff, headache, then you should know that it is monkeypox and not just. Um, but and this is what I would say: if I was in Liberia, if I was in this environment, I would just, for the time being, stay away from direct contact with people, especially if I'm not seeing you for a while, right? If I'm not seeing you for a while, I will just stay away from you. We can greet, we can talk, but I don't have to hug you. I don't have to shake your hands. And that is those are not the only ways we can show our or we can express our emotion for people by contact. That's not the only way. So we can use other means. But anyway, so these are the means by which you can get uh the mode of transmission, or these are means by which you can get monkeypox. Okay, and now this one I would like to show much better. I use this picture because there is this there is this stereotype that they have that monkeypox. And if you look at most of, if you right now, if you just Google monkeypox, most of the images that you see will be African descent that have monkeypox, and I mean these bomb and stuff on them, which has made it a stereotype that only Africans are getting this, but that is not true. It happens to everybody. It can affect anybody, right? So when you get it initially, you have this bump on the stage. In stage one, you have those little kind of red spot on your skin, and then stage two, those red spots will start getting visible. Stage three, then it start creating blizzard, right? And the blizzard will be almost like a fire burn where you can see the liquid in it, right? You see the clear liquid in it. Then stage four is where it will start getting pus. Okay, it's called, and that's what we call it, prostatitis or whatever. But you will start to see the pus in it, and then when it starts to go away from your skin, then those pus will burst, or the blister will burst, and then it start making sore, right? And then you got, that's your stage five. And most of the time at this time it is not transmissible, right? At stage five, it's really not transmissible. And you have the days there. So from day 1 to 2, you have those little rash on your skin, like those spots on your skin, or 1 to 2 days. For stage two, the same thing. Then stage three is where you start talking about bumps, and then because it's not swollen, right? Instead of it being flat on your skin, it's not swollen. And then stage four, like I said, you start getting the pus in there, and then um, stage five is where it's kind of have treated have treated you bad, and it's the symptoms. Some of the symptoms are going away now. The signs, that is the laboratory finding, some of them will be your lymph node will be there, and then you got to check your blood and see what is in there. But for you as a person, the symptoms you will feel is fever, chill, headache, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes. Okay, sometimes we can feel those things on our lymph nodes, and then the rash is the visible one that everyone will see, right? The other ones you will feel it, but the rash, everyone should be able to see the rash when it gets on your skin. Okay. And then what do you do if you have symptoms? So again, I put transmission there, I put your symptoms, but what you should do for prevention, right? What you should do is go to the hospital. Like our brother said, yes, even though he's using the traditional herbs, but he said he went to the hospital, right? So please, when you have symptoms, go to the hospital, get treated by your doctor, and follow your doctor's recommendation. That's what I would suggest. Follow your doctor's recommendation. Okay. But we can prevent these things. We can prevent it by wearing masks, by washing our hands constantly, making sure that we're preventing ourselves from touching people who are exposed to it, and make sure we get tested. And I think the last time I was reading the news on Front Page Africa, there is a vaccine that they are giving out in Liberia. Dr. Yang, the NPHIL director, indicated that they have vaccine, and they were asking for more actually, but they have vaccines in Liberia that can help prevent these things. So please, please, please try to get your vaccine so that you are not exposed to this condition. If you are exposed, the vaccine will help to kind of give you mild symptoms and stuff like that, so that you don't go to you're not getting affected to go to the hospital, right? So I would really strongly suggest that you isolate yourself, visit your nearest healthcare, like I said, and then don't share towels, not with your spouse, not with your children. And I know in Liberia, it's a common thing where people in the same house, same room, brothers, friends, relatives that live together, they share almost everything. All right, from spoon, while we're eating, we share I mean, we use the same eating utensils, okay, and we sometimes share the same towel, the shower towel. We share the same thing. We share in the same cup and stuff like that. So I would think at this time, that's the time you should try to stay away. And please, like Liberians, we need to get away from the thing of when people are trying to help you live longer, to help you not to get sick. You think that they think they are better than you. They are not. It is only you that is in your mind that person think he or she is better than you. It is not in their mind, right? So if I came and instead of shaking your hands, maybe because I'm exposed to some virus, instead of shaking your hand, I give you face bump, that should be enough. Don't take it the other way around. Or if you see me wash my hands after I touch certain things before I eat or before I do other stuff, it's not that I hate you or I demeaning you or whatever. It's only to prevent you from getting sick and also prevent me from getting sick. And let us not forget, my people, first rule of nature or first rule of survival is self-preservation. If I want to preserve myself, I have to make sure I'm safe first. So please, people taking precaution does not mean they are better than you. They are just trying to live healthy and be a better person to society as well. Because when they get sick, somebody else in their family or somebody in their friends or schools, workplace or whatever will also get highly potential to get sick. So please, let us consider those barriers, those boundaries that people set when it comes to some of these things, and stop thinking that, oh, the guy thinks he's better than me. No, that is not the case at all. Okay. Now in Liberia, these are the statistics so far from January 2024 to March of 2025. According to Dr. Yang in Front Page Africa, this is information I got from Front Page Africa. He indicated that since January, they have had 70 people that were affected, and 70 people have recovered. And it's great. It's a great news because we have no fatality. Nobody have died from it. Now, but our next door neighbor in Sierra Leone, I didn't put it in my slide, but in Sierra Leone, I think there have been 4 cases. I think 4 people have died in 2025. So, and their number their number is much higher because I think their cases is about 2,000 plus cases. Now, there are certain terms that you may hear, and I don't think I included in this slide. There are certain terms that you may hear on the radio. Okay, they will talk about suspected cases, confirmed cases, right? Those are 2 different things. Suspected cases, almost like the police case. They say, oh, we have a suspect in prison. That does not mean the person committed a crime. No, it's just indicating that person is a suspect, is a possible, he or she be the possible person that caused that or committed that crime. So it's the same with the viruses as well. Suspected cases means, okay, we think this person has it, but until laboratory findings are done, that person does not have monkeypox, right? So the confirmed cases are the actual ones, are the ones that you can report and say, we had 70 people recover from monkeypox. So please pay attention to those terms, and when you hear them, don't get confused about it, or don't exacerbate the number and say, or exaggerate the number and say, oh yeah, we had 300 cases. No, we may have had 300 suspected cases, but that is not a confirmed case. So the confirmed case are the actual numbers of cases that you have in the country. All right, I just want to put that out there. Now, in the areas affected, as we have heard, Lofa County, Sano, River G, Grand Crew, Nima, and I think Bon County was included in recent time, but I did not get that. I heard that information somewhere else, but the information I'm giving you are things that I got from the NPHRL in Liberia website. Okay. Now, what can public health do when it comes to their response to this? And then so far from what I heard in Liberia, they have set up a reference laboratory that is conducting a genomic testing. So what they do is they look at the genetic makeup of the monkeypox DNA and do a sequencing to see what strain it is, right? And that's what they're doing. They said they are doing that in Liberia, and then they have already hiding the monitoring and contact tracing in Liberia as well, which is very good. So I think they are almost on top of it, but they just need extra support. Okay, and they are giving public awareness, and I think the public awareness should be vigorous, in my opinion. I think they should have it in all the vernaculars or the 16 tribes in Liberia. Okay, and even the non-16 tribes, if possible. Like we got the Fulanese in Liberia, right? So the Fulanese are part of Liberia. If we can get even the Lebanese, any national that is in Liberia, I think it is very crucial that we don't just focus on the Liberian languages, but the foreign languages as well. If you can find people who can speak it, let us educate our people on those things, because we should not assume that everybody in Liberia will speak English. We should not assume, because I have seen videos of Asian descent in Liberia who speak just their language. They're not speaking. They're not speaking English even when they are trying to interact with Liberians. I mean, how that is happening, I don't know, but those are situations that are there. So let's say this Asian guy is in Liberia and he has or has been exposed to monkeypox, and he's not getting the awareness, and he has to work with Liberians, and they interact with him and they get a virus from him, right? So those education are important, and it is very, very important to me, and I think to Liberia, for us to do more aggressive publicity, because putting all the vernaculars or the traditional languages or the Liberian languages, and then educate our foreigners as well, right? And then the collaboration, which I heard is also good. The WHO, Africa CDC, US CDC, and other international bodies are also responding to this, which is helpful. I mean, as we all know today, our world has become a global network, a global village where I can travel from here to China in no time. You can travel from Liberia to another country in no time. So that is why when these things happen, we need to collaborate with international bodies to fight that particular situation so that it doesn't get out of hand. All right. Dr. Positive to be joining me, but I don't see him on. But anyway, we will continue on here. And please, ladies and gentlemen, those who have joined us and those who are sharing this, please share our videos and please let us know how we can improve this system. Again, welcome to Liberation Rise. I've been away for a while, but I'm back, and I hope I'm back to stay by God's grace. Now, public health measures, what can we do as people? What can you and I do in Liberia to help NPHIL, the National Public Health Institute, right? What can we do? Well, they will do their part by doing their contact tracing. They will do the genomic testing. They should be giving public awareness via radio, community health workers. They should be providing vaccination. As from what I heard from Dr. Yang week, or I think sometime this week, vaccine is being put out there. So people are getting vaccinated, and I hope those they are appealing to have more vaccine given. Those people can give the vaccine needed so that our people can get the treatment needed or the prevention needed to tackle this condition. This is very, very crucial, and it is needed for our country to be safe and everybody to be safe, and the world at large to be safe. Let us not forget COVID-19 when it hit China, when it came from China, it swept the whole world. Millions of people died. So we don't want that to happen with monkeypox, right? Let us try to see how we can get ahead of the game and get it over with. Dr. Positive, welcome to Healthcare 101, Healthcare Watch. And as we discuss monkeypox.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And thanks for deciding to talk about this. Again, highly appreciated. And I'm glad you recovered from what was happening to you and you're back on live. We miss you, so welcome back. I will just sit in the back like I'm doing, so you can really go over this, because I'm not an expert here, and I think you have some expertise here, so I'll let you flow. But one question I have for you before I go back in my background to do your support is, we keep hearing about these different viruses, whether it's Ebola, whether it's smallpox, whether it's big pox, or middle pox, or whatever it is, right? And these things come up, and the international community, we hear that it came from them, like HIV, AIDS, and all those kind of stuff. So if these things are coming to us and it's coming from a lab or it's coming from somewhere, when is Africa or when is Liberia going to start to create its own preventative measures? When is Liberia or Africa going to start preventing people that are coming as non-profits that bringing these viruses, to make sure they check the content of the medicine they bring to our people? Because if the medicine that they are bringing and we're not checking them, who say somebody can bring a whole batch of smallpox to infect the community in some little corner, right? And this guy
Yeah.
got this thing from Lofa County. How many NGOs are operating in that place, right? So these are the questions we should start asking ourselves. If these are things that are not nature, are not from nature itself, right? Like when you get what they call the thing, is it elephantiasis, where your foot gets swollen? You get the thing that causes your finger to get swollen and things like that. Those are things that come from nature. So if it's something that's not coming from nature, when is Africa going to do something? Or Liberia, let me just stick my mouth to my country. When is Liberia going to do something to say, every NGO that come here, any vaccine, any drug that you bring, we have to test it in our lab first before you inject it into any of our children? That will leave you to answer that question, bro.
Yeah.
If
So no, yeah, no, it's a good, if it's a valid question, it's a very important question. Now, whether I can answer for the Liberian government or the African continent is another thing. But this is what I know. In as much as we would like for these things to be addressed, the first thing we as Africans and as Liberians we have to do is to be independent. And what I mean independent is not being dependent on people for anything. Okay. Now, let me tell you one person that can be at this time. And now I know they are fighting him, they're trying to overthrow him and all this other stuff. But if we as Africans, if we can shut our borders and depend on ourselves, this may happen. It may be possible that we'll say, you know what, keep your medication. Let me do my evaluation. But as long as we don't want to be independent, we want to be relying on foreign donors, foreign this, foreign that, we are always going to be exposed to any trial. Okay, because I can tell you, even right, I can remember when the Ebola came up, the Ebola vaccine, when they created the Ebola vaccine in the United States, they said it should not be used on anybody in the United States. It should not be tested on anybody in the United States. They took that to Liberia. Jewel Howard Taylor, the then senator of, I think she was senator at the time of 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 how they got it, Buncani, was, I think she was on the healthcare committee or whatever, or in the Senate. She was one of the one that was pushing that vaccine be given to people. Now, even in in developed world that we live in other places, before you give vaccine, I'm not saying it's wrong to give people vaccine if it is there to prevent stuff, but you should educate the person on the vaccine first and have that consent. But most of the time, I can almost doubt it that this current vaccine that they're giving for monkeypox in Liberia is not being prevented. I mean, it's not being given by consent, and people don't even know the ingredients. The people that are taking it don't know the ingredients, because for us here, they will give us a long form that we have to fill out. Are you allergic to this? Are you allergic to that? We have to check all those boxes before we can take these vaccines. In Liberia or most African countries, they don't. They just bring them these things. They say, hey, yeah, the government said we should give it to you, because some of them, in some cases, they gave money to somebody higher up and they just take that needle and start sticking our people and sticking our people. So until Africans or until Liberia, if we want to be specific, can sit and say, you know what, we don't want your NGO money, we don't want your this, we're going to rely on ourselves, develop our own method, develop our own system. That's the only way, in my opinion, that
but
any
Sapolucia,
nation, yes,
Not cutting you off, but I listened to something where the president of South Africa was in like a G20 or some conference, and what this guy was saying made me to cry as a young African, right? This guy was saying that during the Ebola crisis, the African continent was treated like it didn't have any value. All the Western countries were buying up all the drugs, all the Ebola vaccines. If you remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the Western countries were buying up all the Ebola vaccines. So what he said they
The
did,
COVID, it be media COVID.
COVID vaccine, they were buying up the COVID vaccine, and Africa were begging for vaccination. And then he said they went to the IMF and said, hey, either the IMF or the World Health Organization, and they said, hey, since the vaccine is hard to come to Africa, either they were asking for funding or they were asking for permission, right, to create their own vaccine. And they said this entity they were speaking to said, no, you cannot create your vaccine. You have to wait for your turn. When the vaccine is available, we'll give it to you. So I said that to say that if South Africa, one of the richest countries in Africa,
I think
is
the second. I think there should be a second uh, highest economies in Africa, or
yeah,
it's the first between there and
if,
Nigeria.
yeah, if they are begging the IMF or the WHO to create their own vaccination, can Liberia, right? Because the story he said was because the big pharmaceuticals didn't want for Africa or for them to create their own vaccine because they were not going to have money. They were going to lose a lot of money if Africa created their own vaccine, right? So if the president of South Africa is saying that, can Liberia stand on its own to create its own vaccination? Where will we get, anyway, I'll just throw that out. I mean, I will find that video and share it with you, but it was very a very sad thing to hear. So if you are calling for us to create our own vaccination in a country like South Africa, with all the power it's have, to be begging the IMF or the World Health Organization to create vaccination, then where does Liberia stand?
So, Steve, you see, that's what I was talking about, independence, right? Everybody keep talking, and that's why sometimes when we come on this show and we're talking about Liberia celebrating independence, they always say, what independence, right? In the United States, I'm not trying to compare Liberia to America. In the United States, the last time I checked, Liberia don't serve, in fact, the entire Africa, the whole OAU, the AU, do not send a representative to any American summit. They do not send any representative to any EU summit. They do not send representative to Asian summit.
Mm-hmm.
None. Even the IMF, they're crying to. They don't even have voice there. The World Bank they're talking about, they don't have voice there. The United Nations, the whole continent of Africa have no voice in the Security Council of the United Nations. Then my question to the so-called African leader who call themselves independent, why are you there? Steve, this is what I have discovered in my personal life. In my personal life, if my value is not felt anywhere, I leave from there.
Walk away. Yeah.
I walk away. So if I am doing that in my personal life, why is Africa continuing to be part of these organizations? First of all, you didn't need to go to the IMF or whoever to beg. South Africa, you got diamonds, you got gold, you got all those natural resources. Why are you still today coming to, in fact, I just watched him the other day sitting here explaining himself, this Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
I think he sitting in front here at the White House, even Donald Trump, and sitting like a child and sweating. You are a president of a nation, and you come to another president and you make yourself like small president. And once you don't value yourself, you don't expect the people to value you. And that's the reality. Liberia may be small, but so is Japan. So is Taiwan. So are other little countries, Philippines. And these people have voices. Qatar is no more than 3 million people. And they're buying $400 million plane for somebody. And we have resources more than these countries. But until we Africans can decide and say, Lord, this is my resources, I control my resources, and you don't tell me how to control my resources because I'm an independent and sovereign nation, that's the only way we'll be able to develop our own vaccine. That's the only way we can be able to bring our own doctors. Most of these vaccines and stuff, even look at the COVID-19 we're talking about. The vaccines that were created was done by a Nigerian background person at CDC, African descent, right? So think about it. If I'm sitting here, I'm a laboratory scientist. I know how to build laboratory. I'm getting paid to build laboratory. But if I go to Liberia, Liberia will say, "Oh no, we don't got money to pay you." But they will pay maybe a high school dropout from Sweden hundreds of thousands of dollars to go and sit in Liberia and talk nonsense. And they don't even know what they're talking about. That's the first thing. So because we don't value ourselves, we sell ourselves cheap. And then you want somebody to recognize you. It cannot happen, Stephen, until like Africans, Liberians can stand up and say, I can do this and I will do this. It's not going to happen. Your president was crying when you said withdrew money from Liberia. Whereas we got gold, diamonds, and all our resources. Why are we still using US dollars in Liberia? So those are the things we're talking about.
Listen, I asked a simple question and that it didn't touch your bone so much. I'll just let you answer that question. I know you're giving the right answer, but it looks like that's for another day, right? Let's pause it for us to do a complete different show on that, and then complete the education of our people, right? Just educating on preventing smallpox for now. Then we'll come back.
Yeah, okay, you got me right up again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, but it's serious. It's painful. It's painful.
We can do it, but why are we begging? Why do we have to go to another country and ask for a vaccine? Like I look at Dr. Young. This is the current NPI, the current National Public Health Institute of Liberia director. This is a guy who developed his own testing mechanism or device, PCR, for COVID-19. He did that. When he did it, the Georgia government did not recognize him. Guess who recognized him? Rwanda, America. So because we don't want to identify ourselves, we don't want to see the importance of ourselves, it's not going to be possible for us to stay on our own. We're going to keep begging. Whether we have, you got the resources, then you're begging for the resources. So, and that is why Monkey Pox, we had at our reading Dr. Young or interview in Front Page Africa, he begging other organizations to come and help with vaccine. Why can't we develop our own? We have all the resources in Liberia. We got leaves that our people use for the same monkeypox a while back. And let us speak about what we used to use when we had chicken pox. Okay, when we had chicken pox in Liberia, we didn't use no vaccine. We didn't use no external, scientific medication. No, all we did was the PHMP.
You see my mile right here. I went to the ocean. If you see the small mile here, that's from chicken pox. But I went to the ocean.
Yeah, so our people use chicken PHMP leaves, that beans, PHMP leaves. They pound it, they mix it with some ashes, and then they put some alcohol in it. They rub it, and it kills. And then you drink a teaspoon of alcohol, and it kills it. So why can't we modify those things and make vaccine out of them? And even the PHMP leaf, when you boil it, you drink the water, and it helps to kill this from the inside. So these are things we as Liberians who have gone out and be educated, we can come back, look at those leaves, those herbs that we have, and modify it so that it can be used to either create a vaccine, to create pills, whatever we want to put it in. Nigerians are doing it, okay? But we still want to keep fighting to reach out, We got the resources. I mean, just not to get off topic long, but look at what happened in Nigeria, for example. I think it's Nigeria. I was following one manufacturing company. They decided to develop a car or vehicle that is mainly used because of the bad road conditions and stuff in Nigeria. So they're building vehicles that are mainly compatible with the road condition in Nigeria. That's what we should be doing. We have to look at what we have in our country and use those medications to fit our condition. We don't need the Western world, honestly. They need us more than we do. But we have to switch it around and asking them as if to say we need them more than they need us.
All right. Let me put your slide back on the screen. Thank you for that detailed and long answer to my question. That's my last question.
So preventive measure, like I said, you got to wash your hand regularly. Hand washing is very important. Wash your hands with soap. And if you have warm water, most likely we do suggest healthcare providers, we suggest that you use warm water. But even if you don't use warm water, when you're washing your hands, at least try to wash your hands for at least about a minute, 15 seconds to 20 seconds most of the time. Wash your hands, and then you dry it well. And if you're using hand sanitizer, it would normally take 15 to 20 seconds for it to dry. So when you put hand sanitizer in your hand, rub that stuff. Keep rubbing it until it dries. Do not rub it and stop. No, rub your hands. Keep rubbing your hands until the hand sanitizer dry. Then it will actually have the 99% effect that it's supposed to have on the bacteria. Okay, and then avoid close contact with people who have the disease or who showing symptoms until you are fully sure that the symptom the person is showing is not monkeypox. Try to stay away from them, whether it's your loved one or children or whatever. Try to stay away from that person. If you see them having headache, chill, fever, and stuff like that, try to stay away from them, especially when you see those flat or spot on their skin. Stay away from them until you know that it is confirmed that that person doesn't have monkeypox before you can have direct contact with them. And then also practice safe sex. Okay, I know men don't care sometimes for situation, but if the person have a how to call it, at least it's not going to be forever. Try to practice and abstain. I think abstinence is the 100% safety that you can use. So try to avoid that direct contact again with that person when they have or they are showing symptoms of monkeypox. Avoid contact with animals because you don't know which animal has it. For those animal lovers. And then if you do get in contact with that, or you start getting symptoms, please, again, seek medical attention. Okay, seek medical attention immediately so that at least it doesn't get worse. And then, at least for so far in Liberia, we have not had any death, but I think that's the best thing we can do to save our people and to save ourselves. Now, to conclude this show, and after this, we'll talk a little bit more about other health conditions that we need to look out for, like as Liberians. But to conclude, monkeypox, or now they're teaching it from monkeypox to mpox, and the reason behind it is first, people start alluding that Africans are monkey, and that's how they decided to start saying. So, and then most of the pictures you were showing at the time is only the reason they started showing some people with Caucasian background or European background or skin color when it comes to monkeypox. Not that they were not getting infected before. Everyone was getting infected. But it was in recent, I think 2023, 2024, 2003 and stuff coming forward, they started showing that Caucasian or European descent can get it. But because of those stereotypes, that's why they want to change the name from monkeypox to mpox. Okay. So it's preventable and it's manageable, right? And those are the prevention we can do. Stay away from people who show symptoms, right? Stay away. And if you do get it, go to seek medical attention immediately, right? Immediately, please. And then early actions. Some of the early actions is again seek medical attention. Try it, and prevention will be the best action for me. That is, if the vaccine is available, try to take the vaccine so that your body can build some type of immunity against it. And then when you get it, you're not going to get severe sickness like other people who have not taken the vaccine or even died. So far in Liberia, the greatest thing or the best news is nobody have died from monkeypox. Okay. And our community cooperation is a key. Yes, that's one of the problems we have. People like to ignore the warning. Oh, that's only going to catch that man. That man not doing the right thing. Please, it can catch anybody, anytime, anywhere. So when you hear these announcements, when you're hearing these public awareness, please take heed. Okay, listen to what they have to say and do what you need to do to stay safe. That's all we can tell you as Liberians. Please, still safe. Okay. So far, Liberia is responding strongly because, again, from our last report from Liberia, 70 people got affected, confirmed report, confirmed cases, and those 70 people all recovered, right? So far on record, there is no death caused by monkeypox so far. Now, what is our call to action? Our call to action is, let me see if I can just share this guy. Stay safe, stay informed, be alert, and we will conquer this. Okay, we'll conquer this.
We weren't hearing you, so you have to say what you are saying. Though you are in the background when you're saying, "Let me share this guy." You remove yourself from the screen. Usually, you can
Oh,
just
okay.
say,
So the conclusion was that conclusion statement. This call to action is: stay safe, stay informed, be alert, and be cautious when you are approaching other people in for this virus.
"All right." So, Sapolucia, let me end your show nicely. Since you are looking for politics, I found the video and I'm gonna share the part that Ramaphosa was talking to the international community. And please get your handkerchief. This will make you cry. Let me share it.
Well, for me,
Well,
I will
for me,
not
I will
cry
not
for
cry
that.
for that. Beggars. I played a key role as chair of a number of things. But there have been times when we felt like we were beggars. I played a key role as chair of the African Union during the COVID period. We felt like we were beggars when it came to vaccine availability, when we felt we needed access to vaccines, and the northern hemisphere countries had bought all the vaccines in the world, and they were hogging them. And they didn't want to release them at the time when we needed them most. And we felt like we were begging. And at times it felt like they would just be droppings from the table, that yes, we will give you that and that. And let me tell you something that generated a lot of resentment. We resented that, and it got worse when we said we want to manufacture our own vaccines. And when we went to the WTO, there was a lot of resistance, enormous resistance. And we kept saying, what is more important, life or profits by your big pharmaceutical companies? And that too, I must tell you now, generated and deepened that disappointment and resentment on our part, because we felt like life in the Northern Hemisphere is much more important than life in the global South. And these are issues that need to be addressed. And I'm glad that we are all seated here like this, because we've got to get to the heart of these matters and address them. Now I come to...
I'll stop it right there. You heard the whole thing that he said, right? You ain't know when the old people used to tell you, when you say I will curse you, when you're telling an old person I will curse you, you already now curse that old person, right? So when you're telling the people we are beggars, we felt like we were beggars. You already are a bona fide beggar. So what are you trying to say? If you don't have your own right to say I want to manufacture drugs, and in my own house I want to cook rice, I'm gonna ask you, Sapolucia, Sapolucia, today I want to eat tabagi. I want to eat tabagi, Sapolucia. I need to eat tabagi, but Sapolucia, I need your permission. What do I own my house? I pay my rent, I pay my mortgage. I come here to ask you, Sapolucia, to permit me to cook tabagi in my own kitchen, on my own store, with my own water that I pay rent for. What kind of stupidness is our leaders doing, man?
But that's what I'm telling you. That's why I say I don't feel sorry for them. First of all, look at what can happen. I mean, yes, we're going to it's good that we start discussing these issues firmly. Okay, look at what's happening. Here we are, a young 37-year-old guy is in Burkina Faso. Since he's people can describe him any way they want to describe, junta, whatever. He's a leader. Traore, from what he has shown, he's a leader far better than any African president that I see. So here you are, he from South Africa, if not the first or the second largest economy in Africa. He is either one or two, because it's between him, South Africa, and Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they are asking, a continent of 54 countries are asking the world to create vaccine in our country. The continent is bigger than America.
For your people.
The continent is the continent is bigger than America,
Mm-hmm.
but the continent is going to ask people smaller than them for vaccine. I mean, what's the you got gold, you got diamond, you got uranium, you got everything that the people need. Everything, including the drugs that they're making. They needed, they got it from, they getting it from Africa. But you're going
And
to ask
some
for
of
it,
the
but you have
drugs, Sapolucia, just to add on to what some of the drugs are made right there in South Africa.
yes.
We understand. So what will happen if the South African president said no, none of the drug that is manufactured in South Africa, if we don't get our share, none of it is leaving South Africa. Our people will be taken care of first
But
before you.
Steve, listen to what is absent. All that trash you talk. This was 2020. I mean, yeah, 2020, 2021, 2022. This 3 years later. What have they done? What call to action did they do? He's still going back to back. That's what I'm saying.
When you are in
Why are
Washington.
you part of organization that you are not respected? Why do
Mm.
you attend meetings that you are not respected? Leave, and you will see. ECOWAS, when they said the trashing Traore, I mean Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, what happened? They left them. What did anything change? No. Africa as a continent can say, look what, we shut our doors. Or those who want to stay with the West, let's stay with the West. We shut our doors, stay where you are, we stay where we are. Get all your bases out of our country. It's sad. Why? We don't have any African base. No African military base in any other country.
You got money to
But
pay a bill.
Africa got all kinds of country military base in their countries. And they say they're independent. Who are you? You're not independent, you're beggars. And you will continue to be beggars until you wash your head, until you educate yourself and say, you know what? My people first. And that's the problem we have. We don't respect ourselves, but we want people to respect us. We don't tell our story, but want people to tell the story to benefit us. It's never going to happen. Never. So until Africans can understand that their life, the choices they make, it affects not just them, but their posterity, then we will get on the path. Qatar, many presidents, kings are going to Qatar. 3 million people, only oil they have. UAE, people are running there. Even Africans, the African president, the corrupt ones, when they steal money, the first people they want to go run, so this is the UAE. Isn't that shameful for a prince from UAE to tell Nigeria, you supposed to be richer than us, but it's the lack of leadership in your country that is causing you
Mm-hmm.
to suffer. And they don't
Yeah.
see that as even something for them
Insult,
to think.
even insult to you, like you know.
That's an
But anyway,
insult.
yeah, let me let you finish the show. We on top of the hour. Again, thank you so
Yeah.
much for a great discussion, for educating our people. I hope somebody take this serious and rather wash your hands and be careful what you do in Liberia, so that it won't spread around the country. Mr. Sapolucia, again, thank you. Welcome back, and I'm glad you are feeling much better. Um, Let me maximize it so you can share, give our people your final passing word. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you to all our audience who have shared and those who have come on here. Please, you will watch later. We hope that you can share it along as well. We're discussing monkeypox and what impact it has on Liberia. Look, our country is at a point where we don't know where we're heading, honestly. Because if you talk to people in Liberia, people are suffering, people are crying, literally, and people are begging, literally. And we see a lot of things unfolding in our country. Resources are leaving the country, are running out of the country, right? But the country itself is not even crawling. That's two different things happening in the country at the same time. One is running, that is all of our resources running out of the country, but the development of the country is not even crawling. And that is why when we have things like monkeypox, it becomes a severe condition. It becomes a problem, it becomes a worry because we are not investing money into researches that can help us fight this epidemic or endemic. Okay, because of those things that we're not doing, we have the laws on the book or we have the documents on paper, but we're not implementing them. In order for healthcare to improve, their system we must put in place. And I'm trying to come up with another program. I did it before on the legislature of private credentialing, and I will try to come back again with another segment because we still have the same issues going in Liberia. If we had a strong reference laboratory in Liberia that will research conditions, we had Ebola in 2014. We should have had a reference lab that they have in Liberia to start studying these things, to know and prepare ourselves for the next pandemic or epidemic that will come up. But as it stands, we are not prepared. We are not even trying to be prepared. Our healthcare system is still bad. I was just watching a video and I read on the newspaper from Peace Africa recently that nurses on the Nurses Day are still saying they don't get paid enough, and which is true. Nurses in Liberia, doctors in Liberia are getting paid less than 1,000. The doctors, medical doctors, 16 years of school, getting paid less than $1,500, while an uneducated human being is sitting in Capitol building and making $15,000. That is because we don't prioritize what is more meaningful to our country. Monkeypox is, if we didn't have, and I'm sure if we did not have Dr. Nyang in Liberia, this monkeypox would have ran out of, or it would have been a huge outbreak in Liberia. But thank God that he's there and he's part of this government and fighting it, that we don't have one death yet. And I hope as we go through, please, Liberians, you can do your part. Your part is to educate one another. That's the first thing. Two, to prevent it. If there's a vaccine, take your vaccine. Okay? Wash your hands. If you see symptoms, do not approach that person. You don't have to hug somebody to show them love. You don't have to shake somebody's hand to show them love. Don't share towels. Okay? Don't eat in the same bowl if you see the symptoms are there. I know the country is hard, but we can take some of the preventive measures so that somebody don't get sick. Because it is a disservice when you make somebody sick. Okay? So again, thank you for joining us today. And as we close off, tomorrow, please join us. This could be you will be on Liberation Rise tomorrow. And again, I'm back and I hope I'm back to see you. Have a wonderful day. God bless you and stay safe. Be alert, be cautious, and I love you and see you next time. Have a wonderful day.